Gurudev Prabhupada. Jom Shabbat Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stota Shashimat Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Yom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stota Shashimat Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Yom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stota Ananda Godi Vaishnava Vrinde Ki
Jai.
Namacharya Das Thakur Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदे निताय गो प्रेमानंदे all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees of Guru Govind. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtigi Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaravaya Govindaya Namo Namah Nama Pangajanabhaya Nama Pangajamarine Nama Pangajanetraya Namaste Pangajangre Mukam Karodi Vachalam Pangam Langayade Girim Yatkrivatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam. Hare Krishna. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, Yoga of the Supreme Person. Once again. And today's verses 9, 10, 11, and 12. Verse number 9. Shrotram chakshuspashanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Shrotram chakshuspashanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Shrotram chakshuspashanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevade. Yes, Vaikiri Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srodram Sakshusparshanam cha Rasanam Granameva cha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayanubhasa Sevade. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Kamaji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shrotram Chakshusa Sparshanam cha Rasanam Grahanam Eva cha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upasevate. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, I can read.
Sure. Okay Prabhu. Shrotram ears, Chakshusa eyes, Sparshanam touch, Cha also, Rasanam tongue, Grahanam smelling power, Eva also, Cha and Adhisthaya being situated, Manaha mind, Cha also, I am this, Vishayan sense objects, Upasevate enjoys. The living entity thus taking another gross body obtain a certain type of ear, tongue and nose and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Verse number 10. Utkamandam stidam vavi bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimodhananupashyanti pasyanti jnana chakshusha. Utkamandam stidam vavi bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimodhananupashyanti pasyanti jnana chakshusha. Utkamandam stidam vavi bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimudha nanupashyanti pasyanti jnana chakshusha. Yes, Vaikiri Maji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ulkramandam stiram vabi bhujjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananu pasyanti jnana chakshusha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rekha Maji.
Hare Krishna. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudha anupashyanti pasyanti jnana chakshusaha. Hare Krishna. Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
Translation.
Yes.
Utkramantam, quitting the body, sthitam, situated in the body, vapi, either, bhunjanam, enjoys, va, or, guna, anvitam, under the spell of the modes of material nature, vimudaha, foolish person, na, never, anupashyanti, can see, pashyanti, one can see, jnana chakshusaha, one who has the eyes of knowledge. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 11. Yadando yoginaschainam pashyanti atmanyavastidam yadandopi agrudatmano nainam pashyanti chetasa. Yadando yoginaschainam pashyantyatmanyavasthitam yadandopi agrudatmano nainam pashyanti chetasa. Yadando yoginaschainam pashyantyatmanyavasthitam yadandopi akridatmano nainam pashyantya chetasa. Vaikiri Maji.
Hare Krishna. Yadando yoginaschainam pashyantatmanyavastidam yadando apyakridatmano nainam pashyanti chedasa. Hare Krishna.
Nainam pashyanti achetasa.
Achedasa.
Right. Rekha Maji.
Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatanto apyakritatmano nainam pashyanti achetasaha. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yatantaha, enduring, yoginaha, transcendentalist, cha also, enam this, pashyanti, can see, atmani, in the self, avasthitam, situated, yatantaha, although enduring, api, although, akrita, atmana, without self-realization, na, does not, enam this, pashyanti, can see, tasaha, undefined. The enduring transcendentalist who is situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place through their may try to.
Hare Krishna. Verse 12. Yadadityagadam tejo jagadbhasyadekhilam yachandamasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamagam. Yadadityagadam tejo jagadbhasyadekhilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamagam. Yadadityagadam tejo jagadbhasyadekhilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamagam. Yes, Vaikiri Maji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yadadityagadam tejo jagadbhasayade akilam yachandramasi yachagnav tattejo viddhimamagam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rekha Maji.
यदा यतसन्तिषु जगत्पाशेत्यखिलं यच्चन्द्रांसि च यच्चाग्नो तेजो विधिमामकम् yet that which is in the sunshine splendor the whole world Pachete illuminates the film entirely, yet Ramsey in the moon, yet that which also Agno in the fire, that is has splendor little stand Bhagavad from the splendor of the sun, which despite the darkness, whole world comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the fire are also.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmelidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadandigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udavadagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadhutam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishaganvidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpade Govesha Goviga Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Taptaganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanasude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadrubhischa Kripa Sindhuvyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swaminidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare Hare Shrotam Chakshusparshanam cha Rasanam Granameva cha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upasevade. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, nose, sense of touch, which are grouped together. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Hare Krishna. So, Krishna is now talking about the transmigration of soul from one body to another. Now, in the modern science, the modern science is headed by Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin, who has coined his own theory about evolution, which says that transmigration is there from one species to another by the process of mutation, which means that from one species comes another species. So it starts from, he says, from blue larvae, aquatic living object or living entity, and from that slowly progresses to various aquatics, land animals, reptiles, birds, plants, beasts, and finally to human being. So according to him, the human being is the last in the series of evolution. So one way they are giving importance to human birth or human form of life. But here, the Vedas, the spiritual science, it speaks about transmigration. Actually, transmigration is by a soul acquiring a new body after disposing the old one. So there is a dynamic force behind this change of bodies. According to the karmas that the living entities have executed during the various lifetimes, it is getting various types of bodies. Some not very good ones, very bad ones, then good ones, then best ones, which is human being. This is according to a person changing apartments according to his paying capacity. Like when you are not very rich, a person will be staying in a one-bedroom apartment. And then when his cash position or his this one position is more comfortable, then we go higher, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, like that, and finally to very good mansions, depending on his paying capacity. Same way, according to the impious and pious deeds of the living entities, they are getting different bodies. And finally, automatically itself, it finally gets a human body. Because in other various types of bodies, there is no karma effect. There is an automatic promotion from a lower species to a higher species, irrespective of whatever karma which has been executed by the living entities in its previous birth. Because other than human beings, the karma does not act. The effects of karma is bound only on the human beings. So that's why the human birth is so very rare and so very significant. And the persons who are not familiar with this knowledge, who has no acquaintance with this knowledge, what they do? They also get transmigrated. Even though they may not like it or they are not aware of it, they are passing through different bodies. And since their only interest in life, in whichever forms, is to enjoy, even after he is leaving one body and getting the new one, he enjoys with his different senses. Enjoyment or perception of enjoyment is basically through the knowledge acquiring senses. Knowledge acquiring senses, namely the ears, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, and the skin. Now we have seen in the previous chapter, in the previous verse, Shariram yat avapnodi yachchabi ukramadi grhitetwani samyadi vayur gandhani vashyad. So when the living entity leaves the old body, he carries along with it the subtle elements, basically the mind, the intelligence, ego, the senses, 5 senses, and the 5 types of life airs. So the senses, we have the gross senses, like you can say in what is evident outside the body or on the body. You have the nose, you have the eyes, you have the ears, you have the tongue and the skin and all that. But basically that is only a gross form of the sense. The real senses, the subtle form, is inside only, in the mind only. There is the software, the soft sense of senses inside the mind. That is senses where it is situated in the mind. that is actually gathering knowledges, and through the brain, it gives instructions to the working senses to act. So that is where it's basically situated in being mind. The mind, it has to be very alert for the senses to have the proper perception. The proper understanding of the senses is based on the condition of the mind. That is why it's called Adhishtaya Manaschayam. Adhishtaya. Adhishtaya means it's situated in the mind, and it is acting within the mind only. And since it is acting within the mind, if it has to act properly, the mind has to be very alert. That's why we say that sometimes Acharya say that we see with mind, we hear with mind, we smell with mind and all that. Because if the mind is not properly guiding the senses, although you may perceive things, or you may hear things, or see things, or hear sounds, since the mind is not there, you are not really hearing this. That the mind has to be very attentive, mind has to be alert all the time. Then only the senses can act properly. That is the knowledge gathering senses. Like for example, suppose you are doing arati. You have seen arati. We are doing this, the sticks, gandha. Then you are the water. Then the towel. Then the flowers, the deepa. Everything is there. But the mind is not there. You may be automatically doing this. The hands may be doing this, but you are not there. So in whatever action you execute with this knowledge gathering senses, jnanendriyas, unless the mind is not alert, the senses cannot really function. And since mind is a representation of consciousness, the consciousness is affected. The mind always switches. It doesn't sit in one place. It always switches from back and forth, sometimes to past and sometimes to future. The mind will be engrossed in sometimes what happened in the previous times. In the past deeds, what happened 1 day, 1 hour before, 1 day before, 10 days before, 1 year before, or whatever, things. Or they may be thinking about what will happen in the future, next moment, or a few hours later, something you have planned. Something is there always. Thinking about your future, your career, your children, and all those things. You are always thinking the future. So the mind is either in the past or in the future. Very, very rarely it is in the presence. We can notice it. We can note this. You see the functional mind. Very rarely it is the presence. Suppose I'm giving class and thinking about something, I'll not be in the class. Same way when you are listening to classes and then you are not there properly, mind is not tuned to it, then although you may be there, you are not in the class. So an auto action is there unless the mind is always alert. That means when you are alert means you are in the present moment. And the present moment is actually gives you the purity. For chanting, if you are chanting, if you are listening very minutely, attentively, that is called pure chanting. Because mind is neither in the past nor in the future. It is very much in the present moment. You are listening to chanting, the sound of chanting or vibration only, and nothing else. And that is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But it's very challenging also. So it is interesting to go on practicing this. And we can hope that finally one day we'll be able to chant very, very attentively. And once your mind is then fixed in alertness, then you can do whatever you want. The mind will be always fixed in the presence. That is time when you realize yourself. So Adhishtaya Manaschaya, now what this person is doing, there's a person who is transmigrating from one body to another. Even then we are new body also, Vishayan Upasevade. His only interest is only for sense gratification. Whatever type of bodies you have, the cats, dogs, the whales, reptiles, the earthworms, whatever, the only interest is to enjoy. So Adhishtaya Manaschaya Vishayan Upasevade. Now his consciousness is so polluted, he doesn't know that he is having human form of body. And according to his deeds, which is polluted by the material modes, he is always in the risk of getting down, lower down to the lower species, like cats and dogs. And such a sorry start of affairs is given in the next verse, in verse 10. Utkramantam sidam vavi bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimudha nanu pashyandi jnana chakshusha. Utkramantam sidam vavi bhunjanam va gunanvidam. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So, the person who is totally engrossed in sense gratification, Manaschayam Upasevade, he doesn't know what type of body he is now situated. The animals, birds, they don't have any idea at all. The bird doesn't know that it is a bird. The animal doesn't know that he's an animal only. And same way, if a human being also is not aware of the special significance of the human birth, he is also like an animal or a bird, because he doesn't know. So that is a solid state of affairs. He doesn't know he's having particular type and what particular type living this body he'll get in the future also. He doesn't know. A person who is jnana chakshusha, one who has eye of knowledge, it's very clear. It is given that vimuda nanu pashyandi jnana chakshusha. That our real position, that we are a bonded human living entity, is thoroughly understood by a person who is having the proper knowledge or the correct knowledge. So jnana chakshusha, one who knows exactly what things are, that is jnana. He knows that somehow or other he has fallen down to this material sphere and he is grappling with the material nature. Manashashtani indriyani pragadistani karshadi. All the time he is within the pragati, is struggling. And he knows also how to get out of this engagement also. So he is an equipoised person. You can say Siddha Prajna. So he knows that whatever he's undergoing in the present life, he is not disturbed by this. Yam hina vedayande de purusham purushashrabha samadukka sukham dhiram swamrudatvaya kalpade. Krishna says, the 15th verse of second chapter says that Yam hina vedayande de, one who is not disturbed, Yam hina vedayande de, one who is not disturbed, what by what? But by these activities of the senses. He is always occupied between sukha, sama, dukkha, sukham, dhira. One who is very steady in distress and happiness, he is eligible for amrtatva. He is eligible for liberation. You can find this type of verse in the 5th chapter also. Verse 23, Krishna says, Shaknodi hayava sodham prak sharira vimokshanam kama krodhol bhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. Shaknodi, one who is able to. Shaknodi ihaiva yasodham. Sodham means tolerate. One who can tolerate, one who is able to tolerate what? Kama krodholvam vegam. The forces of desire and anger. The force of vegam, and this vegam means the force. The force of desire and anger. If he's able to tolerate that, tolerate when he should be able to tolerate? Prak sharira vimokshanan, before he quits his present body. Before, if he's able to tolerate the force of anger and lust, before he leaves his present body, then he is yukta. He is in trance and he is sukhinara. He is a very happy human being. So, this is a proper utilization of human life. Prak sharira vimokshanan, before this, it's very, very important. Within this birth itself, if he is able to tolerate, so how important it is, see how difficult also it is to tolerate the urges of the lust and anger. It's very difficult. But if somehow or other, if he's able to do that before he leaves his body, then he is eligible for amritatvaya. So he is eligible for amritatvaya. So for that, there should be a proper understanding of what is sukha and dukkha. What is sukha and dukkha is described by Maharaja in his instructions to his schoolmates, namely the Asura Balas. He's giving that there is the chapter when he's instructing his Asura Balas friends. He says, Sugam Aindriyagam Daitya Deha Yogena Dehinam Sarvatra Labhyade Daivam Yadha Dukkam Ayat Nadaha. Sugam Aindriyagam Daitya. Sukham is just related to the senses only. The material enjoyment or material happiness is pertaining to the material senses only. Deha yogina dehana, one who is now inside his body, if we should understand this particular, happiness is pertaining to the senses only. Sarvatra labhyate daivad, it is available in all species. It is not as if it is available only human form. It is available in all forms of life. It is a sarvatra labhyate. Yada dukkam ayatnada, that same way the dukkha, the sorrow also comes to you without any effort. So Prahlad Maharaj says, don't try and don't unnecessarily waste your time with the intention of trying to increase happiness and reduce sorrow. All activities, all our time, all our effort, everything is directed towards achieving these ends. So such a waste of time and precious effort. So he says what he should do. Tado yadesha kushala Shemaya bhavam ashidaha Shariram paurusham yavan Na vivadyeda pushkalam. Tado yadeda kushalaha. Kushala means one who is intelligent. Therefore, one who is very intelligent, while in the material existence, bhavamashida, one who is bhavamashida means one is in the material existence. That means he is in the material life when he is present world. One who is intelligent, he should be able to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. That is called jnana chakshusha. A person competent to distinguish wrong from right must endeavor shariram paurusham yavan, as long as his body is existing, as long as the body is stout and strong and not embraced by dwindling. Pushkala means vibhadyeda, fails. When pushkala means very strong. When you are at a young age, youth, then is always better to have proper understanding, and then in the beginning itself you can able to control your urges of the tongue, the genitals, etc., which is given the net of instruction, first verse. Then such a person is termed as intelligent. So that is jnana chakshu. One person is endowed with a true knowledge. So that's why Kulashekara Perumal, he prays to Krishna that let me die before I become very old. It's very clearly Krishna Todiya Pangaja Panjarandam Adheva me Vishadumanasa Rajahamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kabavata Pitte Kandhavarodhana Vidau Smaranam Kudaste. It's a very famous verse, and which Srila Prabhupada always used to chant this. He used to sing this verse, whether the bathroom, bedroom, while dressing, all that. He always used to sing this. He was very fond of this verse. There's verse 33 of Mundamala Stotra. Mundamala Stotra is prayers of Kulashekara Perumal. Kulashekara Perumal is one of the Albas. Albas means Albas are enlightened sages belonging to the Sri Parambara. So Kulashekara Perumal was a king. He was kingdom was in Trichu only, near Kudungalu. So he's praying to Krishna. My mind is like that. He's always sporting. It's like a swan. Swan's pastime is always under the stem of the lotus and go up like that. The same way, he says that my mind is like that, are always attached to your lotus feet only. So such strong attachment have. Then I'm very afraid now. See, now I'm very attached to your lotus feet. Let me now quit my body before wait for my old age. And what will happen in the old age? Prana prayana samay kabavada vittay. Kabavada vittay. Prana prayana samay kabavada vittay kandharavadana vidos smaranam kudaste. The time of leaving the body is very torturous. Nothing is functioning. The senses not functioning, mind is not functioning, intelligence is functioning. You are always in tremendous pain. The whole thing is choking. Your kabha, I think that is inside the throat, and you are always choking. You cannot even take breath properly. Cannot even breathe properly. Such a horrendous situation. So Krishna, he says, let me now quit my body while I'm young, so that I don't have to suffer the old age before, because I may not be able to remember your name. That is the greatest tragedy we can ever have in our life, that you forget Krishna. So this is Jnana Chakshusha, and Kulashekara Perumal further says in the verse 24 of Mudamala Sutta, he says, Ma draksham kshina punyan kshanamavi bhavado bhaktihinan padabje Ma shosham shavyabandham tava charitam abhashyanad akhyana jadam Ma smarsham madhava twamavi bhuvanapade chedasa panhuvan Mam bhuvam tvat sabaryam vedigaratirahido janma janmandarevi. Ma draksham shinapanan. May I not look on the face? Ma draksham. I don't want to look on the face of whom? Shinapunyan. One who has exhausted all his pious activities. By what? By what? Bhavado bhaktihinan padabje. He is so unpious, he is become so miserable that he doesn't have any attraction for service to your lotus feet. Such a person, I don't want to see his name or see his face. Let me not see his face. Ma shausham shavya bandham. Ma shausham shavya bandham tava charitam avashyanat akhyana jadam. May not be distracted from listening to the worthy narration of a pastimes and become interested in other topics. Ma shausham shavibandham. Let me not be attracted to other topics other than hearing your pastimes. So we are always afraid that sometimes you may be attracted to something else other than Krishna service. One person may be developing very nicely, steady in his growth, in progress in his spiritual life. But sometimes, by force of all his previous act, sometimes by not being properly attached to executing the devotional service, that is the reason he gets distracted by something. Like suddenly he takes up a fancy for some sports. Then he wants to go and play that sport. So this is actually very sorrow state, because progressing very nicely, suddenly he takes a likeness, something else, which is that no relation with the devotion service to Krishna. That's why Kulashekara, that's the risk we all run. So Kulashekara Perumal is pleading to Krishna, let me not be distracted. Ma shausham shave bandham tava charita akhyan anya jadam. By other topics, I don't want. Please let me not be distracted. Ma sparsha madhava tomabi bhuvanapade chedasam pahnuvan. Please, O Lord of the universe, let me pay no attention to those who avoid thinking of all you. First, he was saying that let me not look at the faces of persons who have deeply of devotion service. Now he says that let me not pay attention to those who avoid thinking of you. Maspasha Madhava Tomabi Bhunapade Chedasa Apahnuvan. Apahnuvan means those who avoid thinking of you. Ma Bhuvam Twat Savarya Vaitihara Rehido Janma Janmandrevi. And finally he says, let me now be unable to serve you in some menial way, birth after birth. Sabarya means personal service. So he says, Ma bhuvam to sabarya vedirikta rahita. Let me not be devoid of any opportunity to serve you in all the janmas which I may undergo in future. So how intensely he is praying for service. So that is a person who is a devotee, and devotee is a person who is endowed with Jnana Chakshusha. So now he compares, Krishna now compares the position of a person with endowed Jnana Chakshusha and who is not endowed with Chakshusha. In the next verse also, he says, Yadando yoginaschainam pashyandi atmanyavastidam Yadando vi akridatmano nainam pashyandya chetasaha. Yadando yoginaschainam pashyandi atmanavastidam. The enduring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see this all very clearly. Atmanyavastidam means one who is very strongly placed in self. One is progressing very systematically. One is enduring and being successful. And that person can see this. Now, you have to always remember these chapters from 13, 14 up to 17 is all related to Jnana only. But Yadando bhi agridatmano. One is not properly situated. Agridatmana means without self-realization. He will not be able to see. Nanam pashyandi. First of all, he is not at all interested in this. One is totally ignorant of this spiritual progress or spiritual life. He may be endowed with some intelligence, but he doesn't have the spiritual intelligence. The person who is having this here, the comparison is between the spiritually intelligent and the materially intelligent. The spiritually intelligent understands things perfectly. The materially intelligent, he may be intelligent materially, but is totally oblivious of all these transmigration things. That is because he's not spiritually oriented. The difference between the materially intelligent and the spiritually intelligent is given very nicely by Krishna in verse 69 of the second chapter. He says, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyado muni. Ya nisha sarva is a night for most of human beings, sarva bhutanam. Night means darkness. Darkness means ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of spiritual activities. So this person is spiritually ignorant. He doesn't have any understanding of the spiritual activities. And for them, the spiritual activities are like night. Because they're totally ignorant of this. So, ya nisha sarvabodhanam, for them, the spiritual activities are in the dark. For them, tasyam jagarti samyami, but the samyami means the self-control. What is night for this material intelligence, which are the spiritual activities, is a daytime for this self-control. The self-control is very, very active in the spiritual activities. Yasyam jagrati bhutani, but when these people, these all the beings, we very active in what? For them, the daytime is material activities. The material activities are for the daytime, for them, for the daytime. Although they may not be having the real knowledge of the material activities, materialism. The matter, although they may be engaged in material activities, actually they do not know what is material. But Krishna says, Na sa nisha pashyado mune. But the person with pashyado means one who is aware of his material activities also. One who is aware of his material, but he knows, one person who is properly situated, one who is spiritually intelligent, is also very much aware of matter, what is matter, because it is Krishna's energy only he knows. While the other person who is just interested in self-gratification, he doesn't know that he is dabbling with this material energy of Krishna. So he's grappling with Maya only. He is playing down in darkness only. So Agridatmana, one who doesn't have self-realization, because he may be intelligent in material, but he doesn't have spiritual intelligence. That is why he is Agridatmano. Now, suppose he, without proper understanding, he try to some spiritual activities also, he will not be successful. Like Srila Prabhupada says, there are so many schools, yoga training schools. Because the real purpose of these schools, although Ashtanga Yoga as promulgated by Patanjali, finally directs a person to Samadhi only, the present day yoga schools, they are basically interested in making the body trim and fit, so that you can enjoy more with your body and senses. So a lot of schools are opening, and of course they may say some meditation, all that like that. Ultimately, it is body oriented only. Why he is trapped in such a situation? Because achetasa. Why this agridatmana? One who is not in self-realization, one who is material intelligent, but he is totally oblivious of spiritual activities. Why is so? Achetasa. Achetasa means person with an undeveloped mind. An undeveloped mind is very risky. That is given in 3rd chapter also. Achetasa means one who is not properly developed the Krishna consciousness. Achetasa. Real Chetasa means one who is totally in spiritual, properly situated in Krishna consciousness. Achetasa means one who is not situated in Krishna consciousness. So such a person's life is very risky. And because he is not situated in Krishna consciousness, he may develop envy towards Krishna. That is the most dangerous situation. You have lots of situations where that people slowly they are moving away from Krishna, then getting distracted from Krishna, and finally opposing Krishna because of envy only. Then he is not prepared to listen to Krishna, listen to instructions. He will not do that. He will create his own opinions about Krishna. So that is given the 32nd chapter of the 3rd chapter also. 32nd verse of the 3rd chapter. Krishna says, Ye tu ed abhyasuyando nanutishtanti me madam sarva jnana vimudastan vidhi nashta chedasan. Sarva jnana vimudam. So jnana again comes. Sarva jnana vimudam stan vidhi nashtan achetasaha. Those who out of envy disregard these teachings. By Krishna is giving the teachings, you can see in the 3rd chapter, 1 to 30 is giving a lot of instructions in Arjuna. And do not practice them. And do not practice them. So that is most important. Some person may be able to give very nice class in Bhagavad Gita, explain things very nicely. What is knowledge? What is asakti? What is sakti? What is dvanta? What is vasana? Very nicely he will explain, or she will explain. But when it comes to practicing them, no, they're not interested. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada very seriously said, one who had disregarded his teachings and do not practice them, although you may be understanding that others may not be practicing them, then they are to be considered bereft of all knowledge. Sarva jnana vimuda. He should be considered as bereft of all knowledge and doomed to ignorance and bondage. Then vidhi nashta achetasaha. Achetasa means without Krishna consciousness. It's achetasa. So how to Krishna, all those speaks like this. Krishna, he knows the situation of each and every living being. He is inside the heart of everyone. So he can know the particular situation of each and every human being. Then he will say such and such a person is like this only. But inside that, I mean, what is real intention of Krishna is that he is actually compassionate to every living entities. So even though one may be averse to Krishna or one may be prone to sinful activities also, Krishna is so compassionate that he wants that living entities to be risen, to be pushed up from ignorance to knowledge. For their benefit, Krishna is now from verses 12 to 15, 12, 13, 14, and 15. The 9 to 11, 7 to 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 5 verses is transmigration, or you can say even from 6 itself. And now from 12 onwards, Krishna is explaining that is material bondage, the material world is actually supported by me only. In verse, you can see that in verse 3rd, Krishna says, Na dubamaseha tadovalabhyade nando nachadir sampradishta. Most people does not know the real form of the tree, whether it is beginning and end or how it is stabilized, where it is based, what is its stability. Now Krishna will be explaining this stability is provided by me only, how he is supporting the material world as well as the people residing in this material world. So that because out of compassion, out of his great compassion for these fallen souls, he is speaking this. Yada aditya gadam tejo yad asede akhilam yad chandamasi yad chagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. The splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire also from me. So don't be without Krishna consciousness. Achetasa, don't be achetasa. Please understand that whatever you look around, wherever you look around, you can see all these things are functioning very nicely because of me only. Without me, nothing can function. Not even, we say, not even blade of grass moves without Krishna's will. Not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's will. So when you understand this, that when the sun is shining, the moon is shining, the shine is from me only. I am the reason, I am the base or the basis of the illumination or the light or the power or sunshine or the shine from sun and the moon and the fire also. So this is Krishna is giving a hint. In 7th chapter also, while describing this inferior and superior Prakriti also, he is giving some hints on this, how everything is maintained in Jagat by me only. Starting from verse 8, it says, Raso hamapsukaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryo ho. I am the light of the sun and the moon. Verse 8 of the 7th chapter also speaks same way. And so many instances, Pranavasaro Vedeshu, Shabdake, Paurusham Nishu, Punyo Gandha Vridivyam Cha, see the Grantha, the smell, Tejas Chasmi Bhavaso, Jivanam Sarabhudeshu, Tavas Chasmi Tavas. Like this is explaining many things. So, see the Krishna connection. See the Krishna connection. Everything that you look around you, whatever things you're looking around is connected to Krishna. There's nothing that is not connected, unconnected. There is nothing that is not connected to Krishna. Sutre Maniganaiva, Krishna says, Sutre Maniganaiva. Everything is strung to me only, like the pearls in a string. Tatechasa, the person who is without the proper knowledge, he will see only the pearls. But the Jnana Chakshusha, the Chetasa, he can see that there is a string. There's a string which is not visible to ordinary people, vision. There's a string, and because of the string only, the pearls are being maintained, or they're just there. Otherwise, the pearls will fall off. The person without knowledge, Achetasa, he cannot understand this. So Krishna, for his benefit, telling that, so listen, my dear friend, my dear. So this is like this. Everything is depending on me only. Sunlight is due to spiritual effulgence in the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. Brahmajyoti, sunlight is coming from Brahmajyoti only. The use of fire, why the fire is there? It is doing a lot of production in factories. And later Krishna in 14 will say that it is there in the fire, in the belly of all living entities also. So Krishna is trying to educate this Achetasa, the person without Krishna consciousness, that wherever you look around, you can see me only. So everything is Krishna only. So he will develop on this next verses also, up to 15. Then he will describe himself, the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any clarification? Any doubts? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna,
Tell me.
Prabhu. Prabhu,
Yes, tell me.
this four paramparas is there, no, Prabhu. Vaishnava paramparas. Sri
Yes.
Parampara, whether they worship Lakshmi Devi, Prabhu, or Krishna?
They're basically into Lakshmi Narayana.
Lakshmi
Because
Narayana.
Vishnu is a presiding deity for them. They take Vishnu to be supreme. If you go to Sri Rangam, you find the Vishnu form only. Of course, now
What about Kumara Parampara and Rudra Parampara? All those?
yes, Krishna only. They are basically the Kamaras, and they are much on to this Dasa dance also.
Mm.
So,
Rudra Parampara.
Rudra Parambra, Villamangalam is there. Villamangalam is some Rudra Parambra. He is a great devotee of Krishna only. You have seen that Krishna Karnamrita. Krishna
Yes.
Karnamrita is written by Villamangala Swami only, who is from Rudra Parambra. That is a very nice book. And Srila Prabhupada is actually doing two books. One is Brahma Samhita, which is knowledge, jnana, regarding everything about Krishna, everything about living entities, everything about this Pancha, about these people, Shankaracharya, they all this is Panchobhasana. They sense that these everyone is Parabrahma, only five Parabrahmas, like Vishnu, Shankara, Durga, Ganesha, and Surya. They are considered the five Panja Parabrahmas. But how they are related to Krishna, you can see in Brahma Samhita. You see, Durga is a Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rega, Chaye Vayasi Bhunani Bhagavati Durga, Ichani Ruvam Asa Cheshtate Sam, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That explains Durga. And then Rudra is Krishna, Shiva is being explained. This is a verse regarding Shiva. Kshiram Yadadari. Singdamaji, you don't know Brahma Samhita?
Yes, Prabhuji, but I have not remembered that slokas.
You should try to practice this at least.
Yes, Prabhuji.
One way when you are
If-
suppose you are dressing and suppose doing giving flowers and all those things, then you can recite all these kirtans. That way, one way you can remember these things. So
Yes,
regarding Shiva, it is a Chiram
Yes.
Yidadi Vigara Vishesha
yes,
Yoga.
Prabhuji, I could not understand. Please again. These slokas we will use for
Yes, yeah. According to the Shankaracharya, Advaitavadis, they consider the Parabrahmas, the 5 Parabrahmas, they say they're equal. They're equal. So worshipping them will ultimately lead you to the Niragara Parabrahma. The Niragara Parabrahma for them is the topmost. Sagara Parabrahma is his Pancha Parabrahmas, namely Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Ganesha, and Surya. Okay. So for the ultimately Niragara Parabrahma is ultimate. Everything is that is a real Brahman, and that's from everything is originated from that Brahman. Everything is a manifestation of Brahman. That is their theory. Now, that is not the Siddhanta. This creation of dual Parabrahmas, the Sagara Parabrahma, Niragara Parabrahma, is a creation of Shankaracharya only. It is not supported anywhere in the world, in the Shastras. There is only one Parabrahma, and that Parabrahma is Krishna only. That is established beyond doubt in so many Shastras that we need not go into. And that one Shastra is Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita, the relationship of the so-called Pancha in later Krishna is explained. So for Durga, you have this Srishti Sri Prasadhan Shakti Rekha, you have seen this. Then Chiram Yidadri Vigara Vishesha Yoga. Then Vishnu, you have this verse, no? Deepayade, Chiram Yidadri Vigara Vishesha Yoga, Sanchayade, Nahi Tada Pradhasti Hedo, Yashambudama Vidala Samvedi Karya, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. दीपार्चिरे वही दशांधरम अभ्युपेत्या दीपायदे विवृतहेतु समान धर्म यस्तादिगे वही विष्णुदया विभाधि गोविंदमादि पुरुषम तमहम भजामि. Like when one lamp is lit and that lamp is lighting all the lamps, other lamps look almost the same. So the Vishnu Tattva expansion of Krishna is explained in this verse and other 2 verses also, subsequent verses also. Then Ganesha is Yatpada Pallavigam Vinidhaya Gunbha Dande Pranama Same Saganadiracha Vignan Vihandamanavasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Then Surya is Yachachuresha Savida Sagala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramuti Asheshateja Yasya Brahmadi Sambrudhara Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And after that, in that Brahma, the so-called Niragar Brahman is also explained. Yasya Prabha Prabodho Jagadandagodi Kodi Shasheshu Vasudadi Vibhudi Binnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Ananda Shesha Budam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasya Prabha Prabodho, the Brahma Jyoti, because of Brahma Jyoti only it is all these numerous planets are being sustained. And that Brahma Jyoti is emanating from Krishna only. And that is given in Padma Purana also. Brahma Jyoti, the so much praise for for them that Advaita are looking for Sayuja Moksha. They're so much addicted to this Brahma Jyoti. That is a light emanating from the toenail of Krishna only. So the Brahman is also connected to Krishna. So that is our answer to this Panchopasana people. Panchopasana is basically what? It is basically cheating only because he knows that it is not a supreme, but somehow to focus, get concentration, because it is difficult to worship a formless thing. You have to do some form and then you create one form. Of course, they understand this, and this is a Brahman manifestation, Krishna, everything is Brahman manifestation only. All those things will take, but ultimately Niragara is the supreme. So the route to Niragara Brahma is through Sagara Brahman. So ultimately Sagara is not the ultimate object, then why do you worship this? So that is cheating only. Clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Clear now?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Snigdhamaji, you can give that.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Praladadayine, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Silatankanakalaye, Ito Narsinho Parato Narsinho, Yato yato yami tato Narsinha, Bahir Narsinha, Hridayir Narsinha, Narsinha Madi Sharanam Prapade, Tabagar Kamalavari Nakham, Adbhuta Sringam, Dalita Hiranyakashipu, Tanubhrangam, Keshavadrita, Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Narsingadev, 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 Jaya Narsingadev, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Prahlad Narasingha, Jaya Prahlad Narasingha, Jaya Prahlad Narasingha, Jaya Prahlad Narasingha, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Om Ugrang Virang Mahavishnum Jolantang Sarvatomukham Narsingang Bhishanang Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham. Om Ugrang Virang Mahavishnum Jolantang Sarvatomukham Narsingang Bhishanang Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham. Om Ugrang Virang Mahavishnum Jolantang Sarvatomukham Narsingang Bhishanang Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham. Sri Narsinga Jai Narsinga Jai Jai Sri Narsinga Prahlādesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhranga. Sri Narsinga Jai Narsinga Jai Jai Sri Narsinga Prahlādesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhranga. Sarva Vigna Vinasaka Narsinga Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Go Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol.
Vancha
Panchakalpatarusya Kripakalpacha Chakripakalpacha Patitanam Pavaniti Vaishnavitana Manava.
Vaishnav
Jai.
Vrinda ki jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sadhu ki jai.
Go Premanande.
Hari
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 Bol.